You're listening to Kitchen Table Finance. Join Dave Shotwell and Nick Nauta as they cut through the complexity of financial planning and serve bites of investment advice that are both personal and practical.
Hey, Dave, how you doing today?
Well, Nick, Dave's not here, but I'm almost as cool as Dave, just less responsibilities as the summer intern.
No, Dave. While the boss is away, the boys will play. Isn't that how it goes?
I think it's something like that, right?
So we didn't want to interrupt our weekly podcast with Dave out today. So we have our summer intern, Cade Cambell, on today, and we're going to kind of just do interview style with Cade and kind of learn a little bit about him and see how his summer's going so far. Cade, you ready for that?
I'm ready. Sounds great.
All right. This is one of your big tests to see if you pass the internship this summer, how you answer these questions.
I'm ready.
So with that, Cade, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you from? How you ended up at Michigan State? All that fun stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So I will be a rising senior in the fall at Michigan State, studying finance, a minor in insurance and risk management, and then another minor in financial planning and wealth management. I grew up in a little town in the middle of Wyoming called Riverton, heart of the mountains and the Rocky Mountains. So big outdoorsman, love to hunt, fish, hike, anything outside. So found myself at Michigan State kind of through a scholarship program, and I love it out here. So that's kind of a little bit about me.
That's awesome. I can't imagine that there's a lot of Montana kids going to Michigan State, huh?
Well, Wyoming. But the states, Montana's a little north. I like to call it like the Great Value, Wyoming, but don't let that secret get out because we try to keep people out of Wyoming. No.
So you don't have stats on the Montana kids that come to Michigan State then?
I don't have any stats on Montana kids. I do have some stats on Wyoming kids. There's actually a really unique scholarship program that some anonymous donors started to kind of connect Wyoming kids, and they've since added Upper Peninsula kids as well. Unfortunately, the scholarship program is actually sunsetting, but at the time, so there was a decent amount of us. There's about 45 Wyoming kids here right now, and it's been every year like that for quite a few years. So there's a small number of us, but in terms of Wyoming as a percentage of the population, it's actually a decent amount.
Yeah. Do you guys have your own little club that you all hang out and reminisce about the old times? Do you guys commute back and forth together on breaks?
We do. So it's actually really cool. So we get together 3 times a semester and have dinner together and stuff and plan, trips to the airport when we're going back for Christmas and Thanksgiving and whatnot.
Nice.
So it's really, really nice to have that community out here being so far away from home.
Very cool. So I want to go back to something you said that I'm not aware of. What exactly is a rising senior? What does it mean to rise, Cade? How are you rising as a senior?
Well, it's kind of that weird space in between junior and senior year, I guess. I don't know if I'm officially a senior yet. I've got to make it through the summer before I can start. So
this internship is it, buddy.
That's it. I know. If I fail the internship, I can't go on.
Yeah, you go from rising senior to failing junior, I think.
To falling junior, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the wealth management program at Michigan State and how you got interested in pursuing that.
Yeah, so the wealth management program is really cool. So Professor Steve Schiestel started that program. I don't know what it's been 4 or 5 years now, I think, and it's really cool because it's aligned with the CFP, so the Certified Financial Planning standards for their education requirements. So as you progress throughout the program, if you pass all the classes and whatnot, it satisfies those education requirements. So it's really a good way to get a jump start on a financial planning career because it's kind of a new concept too. There's not a lot of schools that offer that. So it's really cool. And then kind of circling back to how I got interested. So when I was in high school, I was trying to get a direction on what I wanted to study in school. I didn't really know. I had a couple requirements. I wanted every day to be different, and I wanted to be able to help people. So originally that kind of led me towards healthcare. So I did some job shadowing with doctors and in the hospital and physical therapists and occupational therapists, and I just wasn't really enjoying it that much. And I've always liked money. I've always liked stocks. I've always liked investing. And I was talking with somebody and they were like, well, I had kind of told them those requirements of wanting to help people and every day being different and mixing it up. And they said, you should go talk to the local financial advisor and see if you can job shadow. And so I ended up job shadowing, kind of did a little mini internship type thing there, and I loved it. And it was right at the start of COVID. It was spring of 2020. So as we know, the stock market was crazy, the economy was
Hmm.
crazy, the world was crazy, and it was just super cool to watch an advisor be able to talk to a client that was in distress and kind of calm them down and give them guidance and here's the plan we laid out for you. It's all going to work out. This is just a speed bump. The road's not closed. This is just a speed bump. So that's kind of where my passion for financial planning and wealth management stuff got started. And then as I've progressed, I've done a couple more internships, and then through the program at Michigan State, I really enjoy it. I do.
I love that. That's awesome. I'm super excited that they have those programs now. And so, when I used to sit in some of these meetings with other financial planners, they would ask, "Oh, how many of you actually went into, studied finance in college?" And there was like, five out of maybe 100 people that like raised their hands. Almost everybody was like a career changer of some sort. And
Hmm.
actually, even I, who raised my hand, studied finance, but we actually had a personal financial planning track similar to the one that you're on at Northern Michigan when I went. And I purposely chose not to do it, although I did take some classes. So, like, even I didn't study personal financial planning. So, I'm super excited that they have more and more of these. We've had interns from the Michigan State one for the past 3 years, and it's been a blessing for us and also the industry. So I love that program that they're doing that. They're doing more and more of those. I think the last time we counted, there was somewhere around 10 or 11 in the state of Michigan, which is great. So tell me a little bit about future, Cade, and what you're thinking in terms of, what are you looking forward to most in your career as a financial planner?
Yeah, that's there's a couple things. So, I'm really looking forward to clients. I'm a big people person. I love building relationships. So that's kind of one of the things I'm really excited for is, to get those clients and to start building those relationships. Um, and then the second thing that I'm kind of looking forward to is, as a financial advisor, and planner, you're really an entrepreneur. And
Mm.
and so I'm excited for that. You kind of get to build your own business and you get to run it the way you want to run it. And you get in and whatever system you fit into as an advisor, you learn and you learn from the people around you, but you still kind of get to have your own style and your own blend. And that's one of the cool things I've even seen with you and Dave. You're in the same system and you work together really well and you both do a really good job, but you each have your own style. And that's another thing I'm really excited for is you're an entrepreneur. You get to build it the way you want to build it. And you find your people and your clients that you want to have, and you get to help them.
Yeah, that's a great point, Caden. We don't always talk about it, but you really do have a lot of flexibility to kind of build the way that you want to. Obviously there's larger firms and there's larger RIAs and broker dealers out there, but even those operate pretty independently when it comes to the financial advisors. And so you can really kind of craft this the way that you want to. And it makes it interesting and exciting for us. So um, you talked a little bit about having a couple different internship experiences. I'm curious, what's different from those versus working in a small fee-only RIA like ours. What stands out to you as being a little bit different than some of your past experiences?
Yeah, definitely. So I've had this is kind of my third internship, and I've been in different spaces. Like I said, I've kind of been at a large broker dealer, and then kind of an independent broker dealer, and now you guys a smaller fee only RIA. And one of the big differences I've noticed is just the size and the number of clients, and because of that, I think you guys are able to offer all of your services to all of your clients. Where these places I was
Mm.
at before, they're big. And so not necessarily every client gets every service. And that doesn't mean they're not doing a good job because the one
Hmm.
common thing is, I was very fortunate. I've been under good advisors at every internship I had. And so good advisors do good work, no matter who they're working for. I think there's probably bad
Hmm.
advisors in the RIA space, just like there is in every other space. But that's kind of the big one I
For
think is
sure.
just kind of the sheer size. They have a lot more clients,
Hmm.
They're a lot busier. They can't necessarily offer every service. You guys were just doing tax planning
Mm-hmm.
this morning. We sat in a tax planning meeting together, and when you have 1,000 clients or 1,200 clients, with two advisors, you can't necessarily do that for everybody. You just don't have the time. You don't have the capacity for that. So I think that's one of the big
Yeah.
things.
That's a great observation. And, one of the things that we do as a firm is we have fit meetings, right? Because,
Right.
the way that we do things isn't always the way, it doesn't work for every client. Not every client wants all those services. And so we try to, talk about what we do and what we offer and what the cost is so that they can make an informed decision. Because you're right, we do a lot of things for our clients, and because of our size, we're able to do that. But not everybody wants and or needs that, and so it's an interesting observation on your part. So, Cade, what do you think your favorite part about financial planning is? What are you most interested? Obviously, it's a broad field, and there's lots of different things that you can do, and hopefully, we've been able to expose you to a lot of that. But do you have some favorites?
Yeah, like kind of touched on it earlier from a macro perspective. It's really getting to spend time with clients, but to kind of break that down underneath the surface. I like the planning side of things and the investment side of things. And the investment side of things is kind of arbitrary. Um, I enjoy capital markets and learning about the economy and taking a stab at what's going to happen next. But you're really just covering your eyes and throwing a dart. You don't really know. We all know
Yeah.
the best way to invest. But I enjoy
Hmm.
that. But I do really enjoy the planning part. So you can sit down with a client and dissect their life and their goals and what to them is a rich
Hmm.
life. It might not just be having money, might not be being wealthy. What is a rich life to each individual person?
Yeah.
And then fleshing that plan out, and then
Hmm.
hopefully you have this client for 20, 30, 40 years, whatever it might be, and you can see that plan come to fruition and that tangible
Hmm.
outcome. That's what I really really love about it.
Yeah, I love that. It's near and dear to my heart. I always say it's something that keeps me going, gets me excited to get out of bed every day and get over to the office. Is just working with people on what's important to them, and it's not, like you said, it's not money. Most 99% of the time, money affects it, but it's not really the amount of money you have or the return that you're getting. And so super interesting, and everybody's different, right? So every day we come to work with people that have different ideas of what that looks like, and it's our job to kind of help them put it together. So
Yeah, it's
um
really awesome. I mean, how many
yeah.
careers do you get to help people achieve their dreams? I mean, you're really building
Hmm.
their dreams and helping them achieve those. There's not very many careers where you get to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that being your favorite part, what's been your least favorite, or what do you like the least?
Yeah, and this isn't particular just to you guys. This has been through all my internships and even being in school and whatnot. I'm a very active person, and I'm an outdoorsman, and I like to be outside, and I like to be active, and sometimes this career path isn't the most conducive to that because
Mm.
you're in an office a lot of times, and so
Hmm.
balancing. Still being active, breaking up the day where I'm not just in front of a screen all day long. Is kind of the key component to me of what's my least favorite part is I find myself at the end of the day, if I didn't go for a quick little walk or work out in the morning or
Hmm.
something, at the end of the day I'm just in a bad mood. And when I look back, I had a great day. I loved the day. I
Hmm.
enjoyed what I did, but after 8 hours of being in an office, I'm like, okay, you need to go do something outside. You need to go do something active. So for me, that's
Yeah,
the hurdle that I'm going to have to get over with my career. So that's the big sticky point for me.
for sure, for sure. That's everybody's got their own way that they deal with that. It's just kind of one of those things and one of the beauties of this career is you can really build a lot of that stuff in, right? Like you can decide that, hey, I'm not going to come into work into the office until 10, and that gives me 2 to 3 hours in the morning to go mess around in the woods or whatever it is, right? Like everybody has to kind of figure out how to build that in. And so I think as you progress, you'll find your way of how to do that, and how to make that a part of what you want. I think that's definitely doable in a career like this. So keep your head up. We'll get
Yeah,
you out there.
no, and that's one of the things. I know it's kind of a grind right now. It's that, and everybody says that you got to get in and cut your teeth. But once
Mm-hmm.
you get that style built, I know that it's going to be. That's why this career path is great because, like I was mentioning earlier, you're an entrepreneur. You can build it the way you want. It's not. I'm
Yeah.
not working for a big corporation sitting in a cubicle where I have to be there for
Mm-hmm.
8 hours a day.
Oh
In
yeah.
that cubicle. I
Mm-hmm.
can do things outside with clients and be active and
Mm-hmm.
structure it that way. So I'm super excited for that.
Well, if that doesn't work, Apple's got this new headset thing, so maybe you can do your client meetings in the woods somewhere virtually.
If I can afford one, I think they're $3,500.
Yeah. Well, there's that business expense.
Summer interns get bonuses.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, don't tell Dave. He's gone. So
Dave's gone.
I don't know why we all got virtual headsets, Dave. Don't bother to look at the credit card receipt this month.
Oh, that's great.
So let's see. Based on your experience, if you could think back, or if there was an incoming freshman going into the wealth management program, what kind of advice would you give them?
Yeah, definitely. I would just give them. I would just tell them to be active in that wealth management space, in the classes, in the clubs. The Wealth Management
Mm-hmm.
Association at Michigan State. I'm sure other universities that offer these programs have them as well. That's a great place to network. I've made some great friends through the club. I've met a lot of advisors. I've heard of a lot of advisors come in and speak. There's a lot of internship opportunities that come out of it, job opportunities. So just be active in those clubs. Be active in your classes. There's lots of great opportunities. We have some really good adjunct faculty that teach at MSU. So Eric Wagner's an advisor here in Lansing. He's a wonderful professor. He's got firsthand experience. Steve Schiestel, who kind of set the program up as a professor, has been in the wealth management space. So it's really unique. We get a different perspective. It's not just from an educational point. These professors have hands-on experience doing this kind of work, and you can learn a lot from them. So
Mm-hmm.
be active, pay attention, join the clubs, reach out to people when you need help if you have questions, and you're going to make great friends, and you're going to learn a lot. So.
Yeah. About how many kids are in the wealth management program? Do you know?
So it's growing, which has been great. Every year our numbers grow. I think last year we had around 55 or 60 kids. Don't quote me exactly on that, but it's right around that number. And it
Mm-hmm.
seems like every year we add somewhere between 10 and 20% more. So, hopefully this year we're
Nice.
around 70 to 80. So it's great. The
Awesome.
program's really been growing.
Yeah, I love that. So far in your experience, what would you say that you learned about money or financial planning that surprised you the most?
Um, I really think, that it means something different to everybody. I
Hmm.
think I really thought, when I was younger and looking at this, and even maybe in my first kind of experience, was that the goal of financial planning and money was to just have as much of it as you can to retire comfortably
Hmm.
and those kinds of things.
Hmm.
But as I've gotten a little bit older, and not that I'm that old, but as I've gotten a little bit older and I've spent more time in these spaces, I've really realized that the importance is to be able to enjoy your money and still be comfortable. And so that's what
Yeah.
means something different to everybody. Some people it's having a ton of savings. Some people it's going on a family vacation every year. Some people it's buying a new vehicle. So it really just means something different to everybody. And
Hmm.
I think that's really been a unique perspective that I've gained over the last 3 or 4 years is just what money means to each individual, and that is the part of financial advising that matters, is how to let each individual achieve that.
Yeah, that's great. Money on itself is a means to an end, right? And what I
Right.
often will tell clients is, our goal is to have enough money that you sleep soundly at night, but we're using it in ways that make you excited to get up in the morning, right? Like
Right.
that's the dream, and everybody's answer to those questions are different. So, it really
Yeah.
is. It's a very interesting social experiment, if you will. Kind of money and the role it
Exactly.
plays in our lives and what we do with it, and it can be very interesting for sure. So we touched on this a little bit, but as far as your career goes, what are you most looking forward to?
Um, I'm really passionate about everything in the finance space. Like I mentioned before, from investments to economic capital markets to clients. I've always heard I've heard a lot of people say, oh, working's a sorry way to make a living. And I'm actually I'm on the other end of that spectrum, and maybe I'll get a rude awakening when I really get out into the workforce. But I'm just very excited to
Oh
hit the ground
man.
running. I've had some great internship experiences, so hopefully I can take the knowledge that I've learned over the last couple years from the the minor and my classes and my internship experience, and hit the ground running and start a
Yeah.
career somewhere doing something, and get some clients,
Hmm.
and be able to make a difference in other people's lives, because money's a big we've talked about it. Money's a big part of people's lives. So it's when I
Hmm.
think about it, like I'd mentioned earlier, I was thinking about going into healthcare, because in my 17, 18-year-old mind, that was the only way you could help people, was through their health. And then once I started to get into this space, I started to realize how much of a stressor money can be on people. And it's the leading cause of divorce. It's all sorts of, there's lots of families, when people pass on, and assets start to transfer in estate plans, and it can be it's arguably probably one of the biggest aspects of people's lives. And so to be able to help them with that and be involved in it, and hopefully be a competent advisor in the future, and make a difference in people's lives, that's what I'm excited for.
That's awesome. I love that. Can't wait to see that happen. Um, that's fantastic. And what great advice for a college kid. Work is a terrible way to make a living, huh?
I know, it's like, because once you're done with college, what do you do for the rest of your life? You work.
Yeah, right.
You don't have to, but you pretty much do, so
Lots of people go to school for 10 years, Cade.
that's well, I've been thinking about it. Thinking about taking that fifth or sixth year.
That's
Got a red
right.
shirt
You
year in
never
there
know.
somewhere.
Yeah, sure, sure. So this is probably the most important question of the day, Cade. Who's the better podcast host, Dave or I?
Well, Nick, I think it really depends. I think it depends on if you've had your kale smoothie and your nap, and it depends on if Dave has been out in the woods
There you
recently,
go.
and if his dogs have been barking at him or not. So if he's got taken the dogs on a walk and he's been outside, then and you haven't had a kale smoothie and a nap, it's Dave, and vice versa. So I think,
Oh,
no, you
I
guys
love
both bring a
that.
lot to the table. You both bring different things to the table, and the podcasts are great to listen to, and there's a lot of good information on them. I enjoy them.
Very diplomatic, Cade. You're going to go places. I got a feeling.
Maybe a politician one day. I don't know.
There you go. If this financial planning thing doesn't work out,
Yeah.
politics.
Uh,
All right, sir. Do you any burning questions you have for me since I'm on the hot mic here? Anything you want to know? It's your chance in front of the whole world, or
in front of the
Dave's
whole
mom and my
world.
mom.
The two listeners. That's why you asked me the question about who the best podcast host was. Um, what's your favorite part of every day as an advisor, and what's your least favorite part?
Oh man, it's a great question. So my favorite part is working with clients, and it's kind of a split too. Like, there's something about working with a client that I've worked with for I've been in this industry for 16, 17 years, and I've had some clients follow me that whole time. And so getting to see one of those clients that's been with me for a long time and just having those conversations and seeing where they're at is awesome. It's an amazing part of the journey, and really rewarding. And then I would say the other side of that is meeting a new client and walking them through the process and just unlocking some of those doors and putting the plan together for the first time. And that's super rewarding for me. I love that part of it too. And so it's kind of twofold, but it's all, client facing, being in front of clients, having those conversations, those relationships, and seeing where that stuff goes is what gets me up and excited about the morning. And my least favorite part of the job is probably some of the compliance, technical side of things. And, that's for a young advisor, and what we try to do in this office a lot with, interns and, our younger advisors is there's a lot of technical work that you have to understand how to do and get right, even though it's not always the flashiest, most important, making sure you know how to fill out an application to open an account and all the stuff that you need for that, and making sure you're doing the compliance stuff and making sure, you're doing things the right way isn't always the most fun. And sometimes it's strenuous and takes a lot of time. And there's often times where we sit around and go, why in the world are we doing this again? Oh, because there's some arbitrary rule that was written 50 years ago that says we need to. Oh, okay.
Right.
Well, I guess we'll do it then. It's not the greatest, but it's, it's part of the gig. So we're serious about that stuff, and it is important, but it's not, it's not the first thing that I want to do when I get here in the morning. Let's put it that way.
Definitely. Well, one more for you, and then I've got to go mail a card for Father's Day because I'm running a little behind. I think that's in a couple of days, and I haven't done that yet, so better get that done. What advice would you give to, rising senior, falling junior, that's wanting to go into this space, wanting to be an advisor?
I would say rising senior, stick with it. You're almost there, and this is a truly rewarding career if you're in it for the right reasons, which you definitely are, and that is working with clients, helping clients. If you're in this business to make a bunch of money, you can, but it will probably eat you alive at some point. But if you're in this business to help clients, then you're in the right spot. And then what I would say is doing some of the things that you're doing right now, which is take any opportunity that you can get to meet with another advisor, do an internship, go out to coffee or whatever, and just soak up all that knowledge from everybody. Like 100%, that's exactly what I would be doing if I was in your shoes. And then, lastly, don't be afraid to fail, because each and every one of us as advisors have failed at some point. And we learn so much more from that than the successes. And there's a lot of failure in this business in terms of, when you're young and you're getting new clients and you're getting no's, and, it doesn't always go the way that you want it to. And that's okay, right? Like eventually you will attract the people that you are meant to work with. And the ones that don't end up working with you, it will be for the best, I promise you. And even though it won't feel like that in the moment, if you get into that habit of thinking that way, you're going to be just fine. There's more clients than there are financial advisors to service them, especially that are doing, the planning, doing things the right way. And so eventually it will all come together. It's not going to be easy from the beginning, but it will be worth it once you get there. So.
Definitely. That's great advice. Thank you.
There you go. Yeah, you bet. Glad to be able to answer some questions for you. Appreciate you coming on the podcast. We've loved having you this summer. I know you've still got a couple of weeks to go, but it's been great from our perspective, and we're excited. Like I said, excited to see where your future takes you as a rising senior. So we're very appreciative of you and all that you've brought to the team. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys for hiring me and teaching me and showing me the ropes. I've enjoyed it. So couple more weeks, like you said, to soak up some more knowledge and see what's going on.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
And Dave probably learned a valuable lesson. I don't think he'll miss another podcast episode.
The boss is gone. The boys will play.
That's right. Since we bought everybody headsets and virtual headsets and did a whole bunch of other things. So
I think we're all going out to lunch on the company credit card too, right?
Who knows? Sky's the limit. All right, my friend. I will see you on the other side. Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
Good stuff, Cade.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. Appreciate it.
This is a Zedia Media production.